Look at the calendar, at the bags under your eyes in this morning's mirror. You are worn out, drained, and yet you are in exactly the same place you were a year ago. Why? Because you were raised on a lie. Beautiful, noble, but poisonous. From the moment you learned to walk, you were told that if you worked hard enough, pushed a little harder, suffered a little more, the world would crown you. But that was a lie. The world does not reward those who carry the heaviest stones. It rewards those who own the quarry. The hardest working people in history were not kings. They were slaves. They were the ones who built the pyramids, and they were the ones buried inside them. Right now, you are raising a monument to someone else's glory with your sweat. You feel it, don't you? That silent rage, that sense that the game is rigged. It is. But Niccolo Machiavelli knew how to turn the game in your favor. He understood that power is born not from friction, but from leverage. Stop just working. Start listening. Because everything you believe is a virtue is actually a cage. We are going to dissect the cult of effort. We are going to perform a psychological autopsy on your relationship with work. I will show you why your ambitions are being used against you. I will explain the difference between the beast of burden and the architect. Most people die tired, shovel in hand, waiting for a gratitude that never comes. But there is another way, colder. A way where you do less but control more, where you stop bleeding for pennies and start reaching for power. But to walk this path, you must be willing to kill the part of yourself that craves approval. You must be ready for ignorant people to call you lazy, while the elite fear you as a strategist. That switch is inside your mind, and once you flip it, you will never see hard work the same way again. Let's begin with the brutal reality of your energy. Society has convinced you that your energy is cheap, a renewable resource you must generously pour onto the altar of your job, your relationships, your side projects. They tell you to give 100%, but who owns the field you're giving 100% on? When you give everything, you come home with nothing, hollow, like a shell. There is nothing left for your own mind, nothing for planning your escape, nothing for reading the room. This is not an accident, it is by design. A tired person is a safe person. A tired population does not revolt. It does not question interest rates. It does not challenge laws. It does not look at the hierarchy and ask, why am I at the bottom? It is too busy simply surviving the weak. Machiavelli understood that a prince must preserve his reserves. An exhausted ruler makes mistakes. A frantic ruler is predictable. Think about the most powerful or wealthy person you know. Do they rush? Do they sweat? Do they panic over deadlines? No, they move slowly, speak quietly. They have leisure. Leisure is not a luxury. Leisure is a weapon. Strategy is born in the quiet moments. When you are grinding, your head is down. You are staring at the dirt. You do not see the knife aimed at your back. You do not see the opportunities on the horizon. The hustle culture you see on social media is propaganda. It is a gladiator convincing other gladiators that dying in the arena is glorious. It keeps the spectacle going for the emperor. You must hoard your energy like gold. Every ounce of effort you spend must yield a calculated return on investment. If you are working hard just to maintain the status quo, you aren't working. You are being used. Hard work without leverage is slow suicide. Why do you feel guilty when you are idle? Answer that. Why does a Sunday of doing nothing feel like a crime? Because you were conditioned with a morality that equates suffering with virtue. You believe that if it hurts, it's working. You believe that if you sacrifice your sleep, your health, and your sanity, you are being noble. This is a slave's morality. In the ancient world and in the Renaissance that Machiavelli witnessed, labor was not a status symbol. It was a necessity for those without power. The elite did not boast about hours worked. They boasted about patronage, influence, their ability to move armies with the stroke of a pen. But today we have inverted this. We have CEOs waking at 3 a.m. to prove they want it more. We have influencers posting photos of IV drips because they worked themselves into a hospital. This is a disease. You treat your body like a rental car you don't have to return. Machiavelli would have laughed at this. He would have called it the height of stupidity, destroying the only instrument you have, your mind and body, for the sake of appearances. Pain is not proof of qualification. Suffering is not currency. You cannot walk into a bank and deposit your burnout. You must separate your self-worth from your struggle. You are not valuable because you suffer. You are valuable because you control. The system loves martyrs. It loves the employee who stays late without asking for overtime. It loves the partner who gives everything and asks for nothing in return. It absorbs them, digests them, discards them, then replaces them. Understand this. You are replaceable. If you died of a heart attack at your desk today, your job posting would go live before your obituary. The machine does not mourn a gear. It simply finds a new one. So why are you dying for it?
Here is a ruthless lesson from the shadows. If you are too good at dirty work, you will never be allowed to stop doing it. Competence is a trap. When you show the world you can handle a heavy load, know what the world does? It gives you a heavier load. It says, look how strong he is. He can handle more. And because you crave recognition, because you want to be a good person, you agree. You say yes. You carry the weight of your incompetent boss, your lazy colleagues, your chaotic family. You become the pack mule. Machiavelli advised the prince to delegate unpopular tasks to others, to let others get their hands dirty. This is often read as cruelty, but it is actually efficiency. You must master the art of strategic incompetence. There are things you must not be good at. There are tasks you must refuse to learn, because once you master them, they become your destiny. If you are the best at fixing the printer, you will fix printers for life. If you are the best at soothing your boss's ego, you will be an emotional cushion for life. You must concentrate your skills on high-leverage activities, strategy, decision-making, connections. Let others compete over who types faster or replies to emails quicker. Let them win the prize for most useful tool in the shed. Tools are used, worn down, and thrown away. You want to be the hand that holds the tool. This requires a level of arrogance that will make you uncomfortable. You must look at a task and say, this is beneath me. Not out of pettiness, but out of an understanding of your own value. If you price your time at zero, the world will price it at zero. Stop volunteering yourself into exhaustion. Stop reaching out to solve problems that give you no power. Silence is often the best refusal. Machiavelli's most famous analogy is the lion and the fox. The lion is pure force. It frightens wolves, breaks through obstacles. It is the embodiment of hard work. It roars, it fights, it bleeds. The fox is different. The fox is physically weak. It cannot fight a wolf. But the fox knows where the traps are. The fox can navigate the landscape while remaining unseen. Hard work is the lion. It tries to solve every problem with brute force. It runs headfirst into walls, hoping the wall breaks before its skull does. But the world is ruled by foxes. The fox does not break the wall. The fox finds the door, or convinces someone else to break the wall for it. You have been trying to be a lion in a world full of traps. You roar, declaring your effort, displaying your strength, and walk right into snares you never saw coming. The traps of office politics, the traps of market shifts, the traps of false promises. You must become the fox. The fox is observant. The fox is patient. The fox understands that the straight line is rarely the best path. Instead of working harder for a promotion, the fox builds a relationship with the person who decides on promotions. Instead of trying to outperform competition, the fox changes the definition of what quality means. This is what I mean by the deception. The deception is the belief that output equals outcome, that if you apply 100 units of effort, you receive 100 units of reward. This is false. In the real world, you can apply 100 units of effort and receive 0 reward if your direction is wrong. Or you can apply 1 unit of effort, 1 phone call, 1 decision, 1 signature, and receive 1,000 units of reward. That is leverage. Leverage is the decoupling of effort from outcome. The goal of your life must be to decouple your income and your power from your physical presence and your physical pain. As long as you are paid for your pain, you are a prostitute of the system. I want you to be the one running it. Let's go deeper into the psychology. Why are you addicted to busyness? Because silence is terrifying. When you stop moving, you are forced to think, forced to feel. You are forced to look at the life you have built and ask, is this it? Busyness is an anesthetic. It dulls the existential dread. If you are moving at a frantic pace, you have no time to realize you're running in circles. We wear stress like a uniform. I'm swamped. I'm drowning. I'm buried. We say these phrases with a hidden pride. It is how we signal to the tribe, look at me, I matter, I am needed. But being needed is not the same as being powerful. The janitor is needed, the waiter is needed, the bus driver is needed. If they stop working, the system halts, but no one calls them powerful. An owner can disappear for a month and the business can still grow. That is power. You must break the addiction to constant motion. Machiavelli spent years in exile. He was stripped of office, tortured, and sent to his farm. He was not busy in the modern sense. He sat in his study. He read history. He reflected. And in that stillness, he wrote The Prince, a book that has shaped the minds of emperors, presidents, and executives for 500 years. His greatest work was born from his stillness, not from frantic busyness. If he had spent his days plowing fields, trying to be a diligent laborer, we would not know his name. You are burying your genius under a mountain of emails. You are drowning your potential in a sea of to-do lists. You need to eliminate all the noise. Do less, but with lethal focus. A sniper takes one shot. A machine gunner fires thousands. Who is feared more? The one unseen, patient, and never missing. Be the sniper. Imagine a skyscraper. Hundreds of people hang from steel beams, welding, riveting, sweating, risking their lives. They're the builders. They work hard. On the ground, or perhaps in an office miles away, sits one person looking at a blueprint. He does not sweat. He has no calluses. He holds a pen. He is the architect. The builders are paid by the hour. The architect is paid for the value of the structure. When the building is done, the builders are let go. They must find another building to exhaust themselves on. The architect's name is on the plaque. The hard work fraud, the lie that if you build enough, you will eventually become the architect. It will not happen. You cannot transition from carrying bricks to designing cities simply by getting a promotion. They are entirely different categories of thinking. To become the architect, you must stop identifying with manual labor. You must stop taking pride in how heavy the brick is. You must think about the design. What is the design of your life? Are you laying bricks handed to you by someone else, or do you have your own blueprint? Most people live by default. They execute a script passed down by parents, teachers, culture. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, retire, die. That is a blueprint for a worker bee, not a human being. The architect questions the design. The architect asks, why are we building this wall? Does it actually need to be here? The architect commands the materials. Machiavelli teaches us that people are materials, events are materials, emotions are materials. The master strategist takes the chaos of the world and orders it into a structure that benefits them. He does not complain that the bricks are heavy, he hires a crane. You need to find your crane. What leverage are you missing? Is it technology? Capital? A network? Specialized knowledge? Find the lever. Stop trying to lift the world on your back. Here is a dark truth about human nature. We do not value what is given freely. If you give your hard work for free, if you are always available, always reliable, always on call, your value drops. Inflation. When there is too much of something, it becomes cheap. When there is too much of you, you become cheap. Machiavelli advised the prince to keep the people dependent but not to give them everything at once. Favors must be granted gradually so they can be better savored. You must master the power of withholding. Withhold your availability. Withhold your immediate response. Withhold your full effort until the moment it matters most. This creates mystery. This creates scarcity. When the person who normally works 12-hour days suddenly leaves at 5 p.m. without a word, the office panics. What happened? Is he leaving? Is he angry? Suddenly, they think about you. Suddenly, they realize they need you. You have reclaimed power through absence.
But if you just sit at your desk, grinding away predictably as a clock, they forget you are there. You become furniture. Hard work makes you invisible. Strategic absence makes you a legend. You must create a gap between what you are capable of and what you actually do. In that gap lives your power. If you show them everything you've got, they will expect it every day, then demand more. Never show all your cards. Never reveal your full strength. Always keep a reserve. This is not laziness, it is containment. A dam holds back a river. That is why it generates power. If the dam breaks and water flows freely, the energy vanishes. It's just a flood. It causes damage and drains away. Be the dam. Hold your energy. Let it build pressure, and release it only when it turns the turbine that powers your city. The hardest chain to break is the one you forged yourself, the chain of pride. You are proud of your struggle. You look at the rich, the fortunate, the ones who live easily, and you sneer. You say they don't know what real work is. You use your suffering to feel superior to them. This is a coping mechanism, a defense mechanism to protect your ego from a painful truth. They are winning. You are not. Your moral superiority is a consolation prize for the defeated. Do you think the elite care that you consider yourself better than them? They are not thinking about you at all. While you judge them, they are buying your company. While you take pride in your calluses, they are buying hand creams that cost more than your car. Drop the judgment. It is heavy. It slows you down. Admit that you want an easier life. Admit that you want power. Admit that you want resources without breaking your spine for them. There's no shame in wanting ease. The universe follows the path of least resistance. Water flows downhill. Electricity takes the shortest route. Why are you trying to defy the laws of physics? Why are you swimming against the current? Machiavelli was a realist. He saw the world as it is, not as it should be. And the world rewards cunning, timing, and leverage. It punishes blind obedience and excessive labor. You can shout at the sky. You can say it's not fair. You can cling to your moral high ground while sinking into poverty. Or you can accept the rules of the game and start playing to win. The game does not care about your feelings. The scoreboard does not ask how much you sweated. It only asks, did you win? So how do you escape? You cannot simply quit tomorrow. That would be reckless, the lion acting without the fox. You escape by shifting your allegiance. Right now, your allegiance is to your employer, to the system, to the image of a good worker. Shift your allegiance to yourself. You become a double agent. You still go to work, you still complete tasks, but you are no longer emotionally invested. You are working undercover. You do what is required to maintain your cover, and not 1 ounce more. You conserve your energy. You observe the power dynamics. You learn how the money flows. You learn who holds the keys. You steal knowledge. Every day at work is paid training. If you are just working, you are missing the point. You should be learning. How is this business run? How do they acquire clients? How do they manage perception? Take their blueprints, and in the hours you reclaim, because you no longer volunteer for overtime, you are building your own exit. You are creating your own leverage. Maybe it's investments. Maybe it's a side business. Maybe it's a network of influential allies. You are building a ladder in the dark. And one day, when the ladder is ready, you do not ask permission to leave. You simply climb over the wall. That is the Machiavellian way. No drama, no grand announcements, just a quiet, ruthless transition from servant to master. You stop waiting for them to give you a raise. You give yourself one by owning an asset. But this requires patience. The hard work fraud relies on your impatience. It relies on your need for immediate feedback. A paycheck every 2 weeks. Good boy from the boss. The strategist plays a long game. The strategist is willing to look like a failure in the short term to become a king in the long term. Can you withstand the silence? Can you endure the absence of applause while you build in the dark? Most cannot. That is why they return to the cage. The cage has food. The cage has company. The cage is safe. The wild is empty. The wild is cold, but the wild is free. You have spent your life aiming at the wrong target. You thought the target was success through effort. The target is sovereignty through leverage. Hard work is a tool. It's a hammer. You do not worship the hammer. You use it when you need to drive a nail, and then you put it down. If you carry the hammer everywhere, you just look like a fool looking for something to break. Put down the hammer. Look at the blueprints. The world is changing. Old contracts are burning. The era of the loyal employee is dead. We are entering the era of the sovereign individual. Those who will survive are not the ones who type fastest or lift the heaviest box. Machines will do that. AI will do that. Those who will survive will be the ones who can think, who can perceive without the filter of fear, who can direct energy rather than merely supply it. You have now seen the deception. You see the strings. You see the puppeteers. The anger you felt at the beginning of this video, do not release it. But do not use it to scream either. Use it to fuel your engine. Cold anger, calculated fury. Let it become your drive to study, plan, and build. You are done being the draft horse. You are ready to become the architect. But be careful. As soon as you stop working hard, as soon as you step back to think, the system will attack you. It will try to make you feel guilty, make you feel lazy. It will try to pull you back into the rhythm of the machine. This is the final test. If you can withstand the pressure to conform, if you can stand in this silence without breaking, you will see what others cannot. You will see the path to the top. But seeing the path and walking it are different things. Walking it requires different tools. Tools they don't teach in schools. Tools that are deliberately hidden, because if everyone had them, the pyramid would collapse. The goal is to better understand social dynamics, protect your boundaries, and make more conscious decisions. Use these ideas ethically and with respect for others.